Good evening and thank you for joining us. Water supply is largely back to normal after Sunday's water pipe burst near Chongqing's tram line. Roughly 10,000 households and businesses were affected by water suspension, with many in the immediate area and in Saiwan-ho making trips to water tanks to fill up their buckets and bottles. Hiba Khan was there.
The Water Supplies Department completed emergency repairs early in the morning and briefly restored supply at around 6 a.m., but had to shut the water off again at 7:30 a.m. due to a leak in the pipe. The department reminded that the actual time for water restoration may vary based on the location, terrain, and floor levels of residents and businesses. Repairs were finally fully completed before noon. Before then, people had to fetch water from the 102 water supply points stationed across the area, causing great disruption to residents' morning routines.
Don't have water since yesterday night. When I come back home, like 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., already no more water. Still no water. We just do extra work because we need to go down and take water.
Many residents woke up in disappointment this morning as water supply had still not resumed, with some not being able to cook or shower.
I'm going to bath in Cory Bay Sports Center now, and I come back. We have stored some water, so we can still brush our teeth, wash our face, but cannot bath last night. Yet I'm lucky that I have cooked my dinner for my family before the suspension of water. It's not a very difficult life, but we have to think about what if the situation still continues.
While others found their mornings to be at a standstill.
Of course, everything is the water, so everything in the house is messy. Oh, no. Cannot clean up, cannot cook, cannot do everything.
This business said its customer numbers were reduced by half. They had already made more than 10 trips to and from water tanks to keep the restaurant open in the morning. While water supply has been restored in the area, residents report the first stream of water being yellowish or cloudy. Water officials say that is normal and residents simply need to let the water run until clear. Hiba Khan, TVB News.
An expert estimates that the pipe in Chongqing developed another leak even after completion of repairs due to pipes weakened by age. President of the International Institute of Utility Specialists Wang King says when pipes age as a whole, continuing repairs will result in another burst point. He explains that after other pipes in the area are repaired, water pressure increases, and this weak point may result in another burst. He stresses that if it takes too long to reinforce the pipe, there is definitely a chance of another rupture. Shenzhen Metro has stepped up security checks starting today. All passengers are required to undergo screening before entering stations, with a range of items now restricted or banned from being carried on board. In a statement on its official Weibo account, Shenzhen Metro said the citywide expansion of entry security screening was introduced to ensure passenger safety. All passengers must undergo checks, including inspections by security staff using handheld screening devices. The operator also listed restricted items, including flammable objects such as perfume, nail polish, lighters, alcoholic beverages, and power banks. Also barred from entering are animals other than guide dogs and police dogs, offensive weapons, inflatable balloons, bicycles, and other items considered to pose safety risks or obstruct emergency evacuation. Shenzhen Metro said the upgraded security measures were introduced in response to increased safety pressures caused by rising passenger flows during the summer travel season. Passengers are reminded to plan their journeys earlier, as the checks might lead to additional commuting time. Ahead of attending the ASEAN meeting in Manila, Philippines, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to meet with members of the Quad bloc, which consists of the U.S., India, Japan, and Australia. This as tensions mount between U.S. and China following U.S. President Donald Trump's recent accusations of Chinese meddling in the 2020 election. Rubio says he's not sure if he'll be meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi during the meeting. Despite recent troubles, he still anticipates Chinese President Xi Jinping will visit America in September.
Do you plan to meet with the Chinese Foreign Minister or Lavrov while you're out there for the ASEAN summit?
I'm not sure we've finalized that, but we'd be open to meeting with them, sure.
And would you bring up anything about the Chinese election meddling and claims that Trump...
Well, I would never tell you guys in a press conference what we would raise in meetings like that. Those are delicate matters. I mean, we'll see how the meeting goes.
Rescue teams use explosives to clear massive boulders after last week's landslide in the southwestern Chinese city of Chongqing. That has allowed rescue efforts to enter the deep recovery phase. The landslide struck Chongqing's Pengshui County near the Wujiang 3rd Bridge Friday morning. The tragedy claimed at least 8 lives, with dozens unaccounted for. More than 1,100 residents have been evacuated, and authorities are monitoring nearby slopes for the risk of secondary disasters. The youth-led cockroach movement marches to India's parliament, demanding the resignation of the education minister and reforms to the examination system following test paper leaks. Despite police denying permission for the protests, thousands showed up as the government appeared to open its first talks with movement leaders. The movement's founder, Abhijit Dipke, was picked up by police as 2 other leaders held talks with Health Minister JP Nadda. Scores of police and protesters clashed with tear gas reportedly fired in Jantar Mantar, a designated site for demonstrations a few kilometers from Parliament Monday. Students, professionals, and families with young children waved flags and chant slogans against the education minister and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling for reform after medical school entrance exam papers were reviewed to have been leaked and sold. Protesters also demand justice for more than a dozen students who committed suicide after the leak led exams to be cancelled. A Cockroach Party representative confirms in a social media post on X that Health Minister Nadda has assured them he will speak internally with the government after the 2 sides held a 10-minute talk. Welcome back. Andy Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester and new leader of the Labour Party, has taken the final steps to succeed Keir Starmer to become Britain's 7th Prime Minister in a decade. Danny Rao tells us more.
Departing British Prime Minister Keir Starmer gave a short farewell speech before going to Buckingham Palace to tender his resignation to King Charles III.
I'm about to visit His Majesty the King to offer my resignation and close the book on my time as Prime Minister. My work is done. In 6.5 years, I took our party from a historic defeat in 2019, changed it so it was fit to face the country, and won a landslide general election victory in 2024. Since then, it has been the privilege of my life to serve you and this great country as Prime Minister. And I am confident that Britain is now stronger and fairer than it was 2 years ago. And I thank the British people for the opportunity to serve. I go with good grace, I go with a smile, and I go proud of everything that we have achieved. Thank you very much.
The King will invite new Labour Party leader Andy Burnham to the palace and ask him to form a government. Burnham will then address the nation for the first time as Prime Minister in front of the famous Black Door of 10 Downing Street. Labour is hoping Burnham's arrival will signal an end to the rapid turnover of UK leaders. He is the country's 7th Prime Minister since 2016. Starmer had announced he was quitting as Labour leader on June 22nd after barely 2 years in power, ending a tenure marred by a series of political missteps, most notably his decision to appoint Peter Mandelson, a man with close ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, as Britain's ambassador to the US. Heavy losses suffered by Labour in a midterm set of local elections in May prompted many lawmakers to demand Starmer's resignation. Andy Burnham served in Labour governments 2 decades ago before leaving London in 2017 to run for mayor of Greater Manchester. Burnham was a popular leader for the northwest England city, overseeing economic regeneration, improved public transport and growing cultural confidence. The 56-year-old says he had unfinished business on the national stage and Starmer's troubles gave him the opportunity to return to Parliament after winning a special election. Dan Rahul, TVB News.
The United States has conducted a new wave of military strikes against Iran, now into the 9th night after announcing the death of another American service member in Iraq. Tehran has retaliated by delivering hard blows to U.S. bases in Jordan and Kuwait as tensions mount. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio tells reporters that his country is still open to negotiating with Iran, but that it has to be real. Danny Zhou has details.
The U.S. Central Command said in a social media post early Monday that their latest strikes would continue degrading Iranian military capabilities used to attack commercial vessels and civilian mariners transiting the Strait of Hormuz. 2 oil tankers in the strait reportedly exploded and immobilized as the attacks began. Blasts were heard in Tabriz, a northwestern city believed to be home to underground missile bases run by Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, resulting in at least 1 death. Chabahar, Konarak, Bandar Mashal and Bandar Imam Khomeini also came under attack. The country's semi-official Tasnim news agency reports that the outskirts of Abadan, a major oil refining hub in the southwest, were targeted by U.S. missiles. The International Atomic Energy Agency says it is investigating reports of an overnight attack on the under-construction Dukovin nuclear power plant in Iran's Khuzestan province. A number of Gulf states that host U.S. military installations have borne the brunt of Iran's retaliation. The Guards on Monday announces striking and severely damaging multiple American military aircraft in an airport in Aqaba, Jordan. Nationwide air raid sirens also went off across Bahrain, the home of the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet. Kuwait authorities claim their air defense systems have thwarted hostile drone attacks from Tehran. This after Washington confirms one of its servicemen had been killed in northern Iraq Saturday during a controlled detonation of unexploded ordnance from a downed Iranian attack drone. Separately, the CENTCOM says unidentified remains were uncovered in Jordan on Sunday and were being examined after 1 soldier went missing in Iran's drone and missile barrage Friday. 2 other American service members have died from the same strike. As he departs for the ASEAN summit in Manila, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio pays tribute to the military personnel killed in the Middle East combats and leaves the door open for diplomatic solutions.
And our hearts go out to these families. These are heroes that pay the ultimate price. Nothing the military does is safe. It's all inherently dangerous. If the door opens to diplomacy, if the guys that want to do something productive for Iran win and take control of that system or take control of the negotiations, that'll be a very positive development. That's not where we are tonight, unfortunately.
Danny Zhou, TVB News.
A High Court judge instructed the jury to acquit 14 defendants linked to a 2021 case involving the death of a 27-year-old man after he was found unconscious at a Tai Kok Tsui boxing gym. The defendants were earlier charged with murder and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. All 14 were found not guilty and immediately discharged. Timothy Lee reports.
The incident happened in June 2021, when a 27-year-old man was found unconscious the day after he visited a boxing gym in Tai Kok Tsui. He was later confirmed dead after he was sent to hospital. The police subsequently arrested several individuals on suspicion of murder and assisting offenders. The case was heard at the High Court. The defendants consisted of 12 men and 1 woman aged between 26 and 34. They were charged with murder, with 4 of them charged with conspiracy to pervert the course of justice for destroying evidence relevant to the investigation of the deceased injuries. The 57-year-old father of the sole female defendant was also charged with assisting an offender after he was suspected of hiding his daughter at a rented unit. Authorities entered the boxing gym 4 days after the incident took place and discovered the intense smell of disinfectants as well as traces of the scene being cleaned up. This as the 13 defendants successfully entered the gym on the day of the man's death. At least 1 defendant said they were drinking with the deceased on that night, further noting the 27-year-old man mentioned he struggled with debt, took drugs, and engaged in physical altercation during the occasion. The forensic report indicated the man died as a result of traumatic brain injury complicated by bronchopneumonia, but could not determine the precise time when the head injury took place. The report also stated it would not exclude the possibility of the man having already been injured prior to entering the boxing gym. Judge managing Woodcock concluded there was insufficient direct, indirect, and circumstantial evidence that pointed to the 13 defendants' responsibility for the man's death. The jury acquitted the defendants of all charges, while the prosecution confirmed that it would not appeal. They were immediately discharged and granted legal costs. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
A broad trough of low pressure brought heavy rain to Hong Kong on Monday morning, prompting the Hong Kong Observatory to issue the red rainstorm warning signal for nearly an hour and a half. The weather is forecast to improve later this week, but another spell of unsettled weather could arrive over the weekend. Lina Bai has more.
Thunderstorms swept across Hong Kong from east to west, with more than 50 millimeters of rainfall recorded in many districts. The Hong Kong Observatory issued the red rainstorm warning signal this morning at around 8 a.m. before downgrading to amber at 9:30 and finally cancelling it at 2 p.m. The observatory says a subtropical ridge will gradually strengthen over the Guangdong coast, bringing sunny and hot conditions from the middle to latter part of the week. However, a low-pressure area is expected to develop east of the Philippines around midweek. While its track and intensity remain uncertain, current forecasts suggest a high probability of the system entering the central and northern part of the South China Sea at the end of this week, bringing another round of squally showers and thunderstorms to Hong Kong over the weekend. Lina Bai, TVB News.
The Customs and Excise Department arrested 13 people on suspicion of selling counterfeit trainers and World Cup jerseys. 4 suspects are 18 years old or under. The estimated seized items are valued at about $159 million. Mimo Sengai reports.
These World Cup jerseys may look authentic from a distance, but they are actually counterfeits. In an 8-week operation targeting suspected fake World Cup-related items, the Customs and Excise Department cracked down on 50 cases and seized 240,000 pieces of goods. Speaking to the media on Monday, the department says that 12 of the 13 suspects were alleged of selling fake jerseys on the internet, noting that football fever contributed to the demand for the commodity.
The jerseys are mainly printed with the famous football stars, their numbers, and also their names. So we can see a very clear relationship that there is a real need from the public for the commodities.
Asked what features the public can look out for to avoid buying fake products, the officer offers the following tips.
First, about the price. Actually, the price of this jersey is mainly around 30 to 40% of the original price. If you look at them carefully, just like the badges or the numbers or like the edges of the jerseys, you can still find something abnormal. I mean, the quality is not that good when compared with the genuine ones.
With 4 of the suspects being 18 or under, says they might have wanted to make a fast buck. Customs authorities urge parents to take notice of their children's online habits and educate them with correct consumption values. Mamos 9, TVB News.
Meanwhile, Andy Burnham is making a speech at 10 Downing Street after being appointed as the Prime Minister of the UK.
Putting the right values and the right standards at the heart of government. I will put the care of people at the heart of everything I do. I will give this my all, and I ask you all to pull with me. Let's build a new national sense of unity, of common purpose and positivity. Let us make this the moment when Britain starts to believe again, the moment we bring back hope. Thank you very much, everybody.
And we'll have more updates in our news roundup tonight. Stay tuned.